How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today I got to talk about Amy Schumer and the whole Netflix kerfuffle that's going on between her, Netflix, Dave Chappelle, and Chris Rock. All of them are involved. Now, basically what it boils down to is that for her special, I forget what it's called, Leather and something. I'll put the actual name of the special in the box below and also on the screen before you. But basically, Netflix offered her $11 million for that special. And she accepted, from what I've been able to hear. Her and her team accepted that. But then once her and her team found out that Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle got $20 million each for their Netflix specials, she went back with her team and demanded more money. Now, Netflix did acquiesce to her demands and gave her some more money, but the exact number has not been disclosed. I doubt it was actual $20 million, but it was more than the initial offer of $11 million. So that's pretty much where we are. Basically trying to cite this whole, equal pay for women, this, that, and the third, even though it's kind of ironic because do you know that black men earn around 88 to 89% of the money that white women earn when you look at the stats, right? So this whole, this feminist argument about women not getting paid as much as men. Well, white women get paid more than black men. And obviously Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock are both black men and Amy Schumer is white. Well, technically she's Jewish, but I digress. So basically the whole income inequality argument, that's just blown out of the water right there. And another thing about this, anybody listening to me would think this is really absurd because as we all know, Amy Schumer is a comedian and so are Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle. Now, what's the most important thing when you're a comedian? What is the number one thing that you need to be as a comedian in order to determine how much money you're going to be able to get, how many people are going to watch your show, who is going to support you? What is that based on? What's the number one thing it's based on? It's based on being funny, right? And I'm not really sure about Amy Schumer being funny. She's only been around for a little while, like 2010, 2011, as far as being somebody that you would know, doing comedy, doing TV shows, movies, or whatever. She's not been around for that long. And in that period of time, I've not really known her to be funny. I've known her to be kind of like somebody that engages in self-deprecating humor, calling herself fat, calling herself a whore, all this, that, and the third, just really like wanting you to laugh at her. That is her brand of comedy. And that might be okay if it was actually funny. I've seen some of her stuff. Like me personally, I'm a fan of comedians. I'm a fan of comedy. I enjoy comedy. I think it's fun. I enjoy studying different kinds of comedians because I enjoy that craft. I could get on stage myself, but I'm not really that good at doing that. But I look at her brand of comedy and I think that you could do that very well, only if you're able to do it well. I think Robin Williams did that pretty well at certain times. He was a funny person, but he could also be self-deprecating, not necessarily in telling jokes about himself in a negative way, but kind of like almost slapsticky a little bit, if that makes any sense. Her comedy is not slapstick. It's just more self-deprecating and it's not really funny. She's a one-trick pony. She's not the kind of person you can listen to, have a conversation and just be laughing. I don't think. She resorts to all kind of antics. And I saw some pictures she posted on Instagram as a response to this whole controversy. And she's like halfway naked behind a hot dog thing. It was weird. It was kind of weird. I'll put that in the box below if you really want to see it more. But basically in the caption, she was saying, oh, it's kind of funny how you guys want to tell me how much I'm going to get paid. It wasn't about Chris Rock and Chappelle. I don't think I should make more than them. At the end of the day, it seemed like damage control, but I'm going to move past that. Let's get back to comedy and what really matters here. It's all about being funny. Now, Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock, these guys are actually funny. They're the kind of guys you can just sit and talk to about normal things and you'll be in tears laughing. I don't get that from Amy Schumer. Amy Schumer has to have like a set piece set up on stage and resort to the one trick in order to try and garner some laughs because people are laughing at her more than they're laughing with her. But a guy like Dave Chappelle and also Chris Rock, you can laugh with them just on basic everyday things. When I saw them on SNL together, that was a beautiful moment. I knew that it was going to be funny. They were just talking about the election and the reaction people had to it. People were all triggered, butthurt or whatever. And just their interaction outside of the lines was funny. Just seeing them to communicate, that right there is a natural ability of a comedian to be funny without trying. So that's what I like about them. That's part of the reason why they're going to get 20 million versus Amy Schumer getting 11. And beyond that, these two men are legends and they've been around for a very long time. Movie stars, TV stars. I mean, you're talking about Chris Rock back in like 1990 being in New Jack City. You're talking about Dave Chappelle being in Half Baked. You're talking about the Chappelle Show, one of the best shows of its kind that's ever been on TV. Chris Rock had a sitcom for a very long time, Everybody Hates Chris, with two of the biggest stars, especially in Black Hollywood. You're talking about Terry Crews and also Tashina Arnold. I mean, these two people are treasures to Hollywood, especially to Black Hollywood. These are some of the top actors that you have. So, I mean, this is somebody that is very accomplished, movie producer, actor, comedian for 20, 30 years or more. We've known who these guys are. So to try and compare Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock to an Amy Schumer is like trying to compare a college running back to Emmitt Smith in the Hall of Fame. It just doesn't make any sense. You guys play the same position of running back, but a guy in college just trying to go through classes and maybe go to the NFL one day, comparing that to somebody who's already been in the NFL, who's reached the highest of the highs, Super Bowl rings, and is now ascended to the Hall of Fame, is no comparison to be made there when you really want to look at their accomplishments and their skill level. It's just that simple. And this whole thing about the money is crazy. You know, Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle both deserve that. It was a high demand for them to get the money that they got. Their specials were well received. People loved the specials. Some people were triggered because of the trendy jokes from Dave Chappelle, but that's okay. It's not really a big deal. People mostly love them for their comedy over the years, and they also love their Netflix specials. Now, Amy Schumer, on the other hand, her actual special was received very negatively. It was a flop. It was a big time flop. It got like I think the lowest rating ever on Netflix for anything. It was constantly given like 1 star, negative reviews. Amy Schumer blamed it on the alt-right, talking about they were trolling her, but maybe, just maybe, people didn't like the actual show. They didn't like it. And she got punished so hard with the 1 stars because her show was so bad. I think Netflix at that point changed the rating system. Remember that Netflix at one point used to have star ratings. It made it easy for you to be able to determine what was going to be good and what was going to be bad for the most part, because people would vote after they get done watching something or before or whatever it is, 1 star on up to 5 stars. But now you have the thumbs up and thumbs down, and it does some kind of weird algorithm where they match it to you. So you can't really tell if it's going to be good or bad because the algorithm might not know your particular taste. It might not know how this is really being received by the public. Because it's one thing to say, okay, this program right here should match you and what you like. Since you like that, you're going to like this. But that's not always the case. You should just be able to have the rating system there, so I'm able to tell if it's going to be good or if it's going to be bad for the most part. If it has 3 stars, I might give it a view. If it's in the category I like and it has 3 stars, I might watch it. But if it has 1 star, I'm not going to touch it. If it has 5 stars, I might not even be into that category, but if it has 5 stars, I'm going to go watch it because everybody pretty much agrees it's a good movie or it's a good TV show, whatever it is. But Amy Schumer's special bombed so hard that they had to change the rating system to one that's worse than the one that they had, which had been tried and true for many years. I mean, like since the beginning of Netflix, even back in the DVD days where everybody did that rather than the streaming situation, back when you still had Hollywood Video and Blockbuster Video out, you had the star rating system. Now it's gone. So at the end of the day, Amy Schumer, look, if you're listening to me, you are not really that funny of a comedian. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Not everybody can be that funny. Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, these guys are the top tier, upper echelon, high demand, movie stars, TV stars, Hall of Fame comedians. You can't really hold a candle to them. Now, I know in your little Instagram post, you wanted to kind of allude to that point, but you can't say, oh, because they got 20 million, you should get more than your 11. I mean, 11 million for your comedy special was really a steal. That was really barefaced robbery, really, because look at how bad it was. I think at the end of the day, as I close, you should focus on having a better set with your comedy rather than be worried about other people that are doing better than you, who make more than you. That is how the free market works. If I perform better, if I have better skills, if I have better talent, if I have more of a following, if my special is better than someone else's, I should be compensated accordingly because people are going to pay more for me than they are for you. And it's just that simple. So what do you think? Do you think Amy Schumer is funny? Now, if you think that way, please let me know what scene I can watch that's like it'll be side split and funny to where it's hilarious. Does she have any comedy that is anything beyond the self-deprecating humor? I'm not really a big fan of that kind of humor, honestly. Like I said before, I like to be able to hear somebody talk and then them just be funny, naturally funny, without having to go be slapsticky or, you know, talk about themselves in a negative way. I even like guys that are not necessarily that funny on stage, but are funny when it comes to telling the story. Like, you enjoy hearing the story and it's told in an enthralling way, but also can be funny. Like, rest in peace to my man, Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy was fantastic with storytelling. Not so much as a stand-up comedian. I didn't like his stand-up that much. You know, the set jokes and stuff like that, I wasn't really a fan of. But listening to him talk and tell these stories about, you know, Rick James in the 80s and stuff like that, the way he was able to paint the picture, it was like listening to an audio book being told as it was written on the spot. You understand what I'm saying? He'll be able to paint characters and give you the whole life story within just a few minutes. And then the way he told it was so enthralling and funny. That was what made him funny beyond the stand-up comedian side of it. And also a woman like Tiffany Haddish from the Girls Trip movie, I don't think she's really that funny when it comes to stand-up. I've seen some of her stuff at the Laugh Factory. I wasn't really a big fan of that, but her interviews, the long-form interviews where she was able to talk to people and tell her life story was, mwah, it was fantastic. She was a great storyteller in those interviews. So that's her strength right there, being able to tell stories and being able to be funny just in a natural way. I would pay more for Tiffany Haddish. So that whole thing about women can't be funny and it's a bias against women comedians. Nah, I like Tiffany Haddish. I like Dave Chappelle. I like even a guy like Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan, I like his podcast and his comedy comes second, but his comedy is hilarious. Anybody that's funny, I like. If you're not funny, it is what it is. At the end of the day, comedy is like sports. NFL, NBA, whatever, it's a meritocracy. Either you can perform well or you can't. If you can perform well, you're able to be given opportunities. Colin Kaepernick. If you cannot perform well, you would not be given opportunities. Colin Kaepernick. It's that simple. So that's pretty much all I got to say. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.